Hello everyone and welcome to round 4 of Neo Racing League season. We are here at Spa-Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix in what is one of the most iconic circuits on the Formula 1 calendar. The 4.352 mile circuit has 19 turns, 8 to the left and 11 to the right, with 2 DRS zones included, with many famous corners like La Source, Eau Rouge, Radion and Blanchimont, among many others. Speaking of its rich history, the circuit has seen many iconic moments throughout the years, with an almighty crush collecting the most of the grid at the start of the 1998 Grand Prix. The final 2 laps of the 2008 race was hit by a sudden rain shower, causing chaos in that year's race, with 2019 seeing the first ever Grand Prix victory of Charles Leclerc in Formula 1. In Neo, however, we have had 2 races in previous seasons. Back in season 1, we saw Smola take his third of 4 wins in that inaugural season. While last season saw JPS taking victory on his way to winning the title. I'm your commentator, Jamie Jackson, and tonight I am joined by a man who some say is scared of watermelons and has steam come out of his ears every time he's behind a slobber driver. All we know is he's called apfstig. How you doing, my friend?
It's the seeds in the watermelons. That's what it is.
Well, hey, welcome back. You're here once more.
Thank
Um,
you. Hello.
so are you looking forward for this one?
One of my favourite tracks. This one. It's always a good one to watch as well. And hopefully we don't have a repeat of 1998, and we have more of a repeat of, I don't know. Let's go with 2020. I feel like that might. No, that wasn't a good. No, no, no. Let's not say 2020. That wasn't a good year. But
It really
anyway,
wasn't.
let's not worry about that. But let's hope for a good race. And it's always a good one for overtakes. It's always a good one for it. Just because you get pole doesn't mean too much here, which is quite crucial for qualifying actually. But as long as you can get a good clean getaway and good clean race pace, yeah, tend to be pretty good here.
Yeah. So I'm just speaking of just of races. Last race, I need to quickly go back to because last time out, the Spanish Grand Prix results have changed due to penalties. As we see, Vekelu, who I've now been told is how to say the name, took the victory in the end after the penalties were applied. Speed Queen comes home in second place with this guy Neo in third. JPS got dropped down to fourth place in the end with Rupsi Cola in fifth. Gary Gator in sixth. There's your as you mentioned, Gary, with Marchmeister in seventh. And then we have David 8th and Hamflap Kelly in ninth. He also got the fastest lap of that race, taking an extra point home with a couple drivers DNFing. So this will leave us with this in our championship standings. Shoot Fizzle will lead the way, and after missing out last week with 37 points, but now only has a 6-point lead over the reserve of Vekelu. With 31 points, JPS, who was the sprint winner in Abu Dhabi, will have 27 points, with Gary Gator just behind him on 26. Rupsi Cola behind that in fifth on 25, with this guy Neo, Marchmeister, Bonvia, Speed Queen, and David rounding out our top 10. And one final thing, constructor standings. Mercedes lead the way by 6 points over Aston Martin. And we have Sauber in P3, 1 point ahead of the Williams, then followed by Haas in 5th, RB in 6th, Alpine 7th, Red Bull in 8th, McLaren in 9th, and Ferrari still yet to score a point. Now that is all done, we have got some laps currently underway. I'm just got to get some stuff up, otherwise I will forget. There we go. And then we can have a look at who is setting the first set of times. I believe Rupsi Cola is our first driver going through sector 2 now. Just after going down that long straight after Radion. And now going through this hairpin and towards No Name through that fast left-hander. It is very difficult to get right though, because the track limits come up to you so quickly. And now we go down to one of the most iconic corners on the circuit. Puon goes. It's a very, very quick left, just a downshift in race pace. Not even that in quali. Now through the right and the left to end sector, it'll be the final chicane, well, the penultimate chicane of the lap, before one more right-hander to end sector 2. 1:15.2 in the first two sectors. Is that any good? We don't know. We'll find out as we go now down towards through these just sweepers. Just flat sweepers into Blanchimont, completely flat in a modern F1 car. Just you don't even think about it nowadays. It's just flat, and you go into the bus stop chicane. Just gotta get this right here. You need to make sure you don't have any sort of oversteer on the exit due to the undulation. And a 43.8 is our first time, followed by 44.5 by this guy Neo.
Yeah, we're not going to see the fastest laps of the session just yet, but what we are going to see is, it looks like drivers are going to be using all of their deployment around the lap. As I just jump on board with Mark Bowler there, and it looks like he's got deploy used already. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting one for drivers to play around with. Looks like the Saubers are giving each other a little bit of a tow. We've got Parkster right up behind his teammate of Gary Gator in the... Oh, no, never mind, they're going into pits. Into pits we must go.
Hello, Matt Gallagher.
Hello, Matt. Shoot Fizzle going fastest now, 43.2. 5 tenths ahead of Roopsy's lap there. Yeah, who are you going to jump on board with?
Let's have a look at our JPS is coming around to in invalid that lap, so I think he'll go for a full flyer. So
Yeah, it looks like he is.
do you want to take this one or do you want me to?
Yeah, we can share it. So we're coming up down to the source now. A little bit of a downhill braking zone there. Slight look up at the front tyres there. Going to be flat on the throttle now, down towards Eau Rouge and Radion. Want to keep the throttle completely planted here because you could be very easy to unsettle the car and then just lose all grip through there. But it looks like Jay's dealing with it quite well. DRS wide open now. Going to be foot flat to the floor all the way down to Lacombe. Nice line there. Getting a little bit up on the curb, but not too much because you don't want to unsettle the car again. On the third apex there, nicely. Going to come down into the... I can't remember what the corner's called, but downhill braking zone, but deals with it well. Through No Name, there's not much curb on the inside here. It looks like a little bit of a wiggle on the exit as he goes over the curb. Coming up down to Puon, bit of a oversteer moment there, but it looks like he's got it under control. Up around the middle sector chicane. I'm rubbish with the names today. I can't remember where we are. It looks like a fairly tidy lap here from Jay. Going to be all flat out now in sector 3. It looks like he's got the fastest sector 2, but who knows really with this game. Going to be, as Galiso said, completely flat around sector 3, coming up towards the bus stop chicane. The bus stop chicane can be incredibly easy to lock up and incredibly easy to unsettle that car, especially over those curbs. Looks like a nice rotation there on the car. A little bit shy there on the throttle, but Jay's going to have a decent lap there. It's actually really decent, 42.4.
Yeah, a very good lap from the Mercedes. Puts himself nearly 8 tenths clear of championship leader Shoot Fizzle. I just want to say the turn 10 hairpin is called Brussels. And then
Is it?
Yeah, Brussels.
Brussels?
Yeah,
Right.
I had a little bit of research after you done that, and the turn 14 is campus, which is the chicane, second bottom of the chicane, and then turn 15 Stavolo.
Stavolo, yes.
So yeah, and then I'm gonna forget half this, so I've got to try and keep it up on my thing when I go for laps, because otherwise I will
That's
forget.
what I normally end up doing. I normally have a second screen up and have the corner numbers, but then I got a bit confused in pre-season and I hadn't done commentary for a while. So, but we're getting back into the swing of it now. So maybe I should go and grab it.
Yeah, so while you go and grab that, TTV, yes, will be on a lap currently going through No Name. The only corner on the... Well, actually, it has a name now, but we're all going to still call it No Name. Now, down through Puon of turn 12, and he just completely... It is so quick through Puon. And then you've got to come into the very hard breaking point of turn 13 into 14. Didn't look fully settled there, the Alpine. As we go into Stavolo, it goes a bit wide on entry, meaning he has a costly exit, which will cost him all the way up through towards Blanchimont and that bus stop chicane, consistently losing more and more time. So going through Blanchimont now, he has completely run out of battery. Where does the Alpine go for this time? Into the final breaking point of the lap. Just got to get this right, and never mind, he comes into the pits. And that was, I guess it was kind of more a sighter lap for the Alpine. Who is on a lap? That is the question. Parkstar. Is Parkstar on a lap? Yes, he is. He's going through the Lacombe chicane now and towards the turn 10 of Brussels. Can the Sauber get up there? Who has been okay, but hasn't had quite the pace of Gary throughout the whole season. So can Parkstar get towards the front and start making any sort of charge in terms of podiums and wins and taking points off not just the championship leader but the rivals around him? Parkstar through 13 and 14 now and towards Stavolo, where does the Sauber have the confidence? Goes on that gravel, and that will cause all sort of issues because those right tyres will now have just bits of dust and bits of gravel on them, and they will not be optimised for the following corner, which will cost him all the way down through Blanchimont and towards what he's coming through now, the bus stop chicane. Can the Sauber get a decent lap on the board, or will they just will they go P6? They go P6, 45.2, half a second clear of Mark Buller, but is fairly far off of JPS.
Just like to thank our producer for sending through a track map with the correct names on it rather than the track map I've just found online.
What's he got? He's got a Wikipedia one. Okay.
Yes, our producers found the proper one, but the one I found, I will send you privately. I'll send it to our producer as well. But yes, you'll like the name of it unless you've seen my message already.
Oh, okay. I've just seen what you said. You know what? Fair enough. We're not going to talk. We're going to leave it at that.
No, that's not for the stream.
That is not for the stream. That is the NSFW section. So coming up to the line, Gary Gator goes P3, 43.3, but 9/10 off of JPS. There's your mention once more. I might just keep mentioning him all stream. We might just make the whole stream.
Until he knocks his wing off, he's gonna get mentioned. He's had a big wiggle through there, so it could have been nearly that, and that's not even on a lap.
Yeah, that is. But we have seen that with a couple drivers, this season so far, where they really do well in qualifying, but their car is on a knife's edge, which really costs them in the race. So if you're in that situation, you really do not want to have a qualifying setup on the car, because otherwise you'll just end up with so much problems throughout the race. And I can't lie, me and you talk about this every single week. Race pace, race is where the points is, and you don't want to risk losing out on however many points your pace is at.
Yeah, this track is really not worth qualifying setup. Yes, you might be really quick on a straight, but sector 2 is where a lot of the speed is at. It's the longest track of the season, so it's one that you really need to make sure you've got a setup for the whole lap for all of the 30 laps, 24 laps. I can't remember how much this race is. I know it's 44 normally, so it must be 20, 22, 24 then?
22 it is.
22. There you go.
So so like we say, 50% race for this for Neo. So 22 laps around the longest circuit on the calendar, but what used to be quite a bit of a margin, but now is starting to shrink a bit with a couple other tracks coming onto the calendar like Saudi Arabia and a few others in that mix. So with Speed Queen going P2 there, 42.6. JPS and Speed Queen looked really, really quick last time out. Both of them coming to blows at the end of that race, which ultimately JPS did initially win, but their contact in the final couple of corners in sector 3 cost Speed Queen, and JPS ended up getting the penalty, leading to Vekelu taking the victory over Speed Queen, and JPS dropping down a couple of positions. So yeah, we got TTV starting a flying lap as we go on. Stig, you want to take us through this one again?
Yeah, can do. So coming up to Overeast Radion again. Nice and smooth through there, absolutely planted the car, depleting as much of that battery and using all of that DRS possible to that Alpine. Coming up to the braking zone of Le Com, and that looks a pretty tidy line, not using all of the track, but you don't really want to. There's a little bit of a wiggle there on the third apex there. Coming up down to Brussels, downhill braking zone incredibly difficult, like I said before, but it looks like he's tidied up on the exit. Coming up through No Name now. Oh, bit of a buys invalidated there. Put a wheel on the gravel. Gonna need to get that battery charged up. In fact, actually, he's out because that's invalidated and it's the end of the session.
Yeah, and I've just seen the other driver who is in the drop zone. Our the founder of the league, Marchmeister, currently on a lap, had a massive load of oversteer in the com. Can he get close enough to get inside that top 10? He's got 45.2 to beat. Does the Haas have what it takes? Going through No Name now, which is also called Jackie X, but we're going to continue calling it No Name, through Puon as we go. Very, very fast corner there. You need to make sure you're still in the white lines. The Haas has done so as we go down towards the corners of turn 13 and turn 14 of Campus as we go. He doesn't go quite to the edge of the track limits, but he just needs to get a decent time on the board. 15.4 in the first two sectors. Now through turn 16, and now just a flat out run through sector 3 towards the final braking zone of the lap at the bus stop. Got a couple corners to get to contest with though. Through Blanchimont, does the Haas get inside that top 10 up to the bus stop now? Where does he brake? He tries to brake as late as possible, but it runs a bit wide, and unfortunately that's going to cost him in the final part of the run. DRS to the line, and he goes for P8 44.1, knocking Parkster out. Shoot, Vissel goes fastest with a 42.1, but that's going to be all reset coming into the final part of qualifying. But that leaves us with the Sauber of Parkster and the Alpine of TTVS out of the session.
It's an interesting tactic that we see March go for, because March always sets us the time at the very end of the session, doesn't leave himself much room for any mistakes. So it literally gives himself one run, and you see there he very nearly missed out. He only got through by about 7/10, which in the grand scheme of things is quite big, but he's very close to the drop zone. So yeah, we'll see. It would be interesting to, if we talk to March today, it'd be interesting to ask him about that tactic.
Yeah, we'll have to ask him. It might just be a comfortability sort of thing. He might also go. I don't really notice him go out earlier in the session either to get any sort of running in. So if he goes for that one shot,
he leaves it all to the end.
Yeah, so if he leaves it all at one shot in the end, it might work for him, but it does seem a bit questionable on our end. However, that is Q2 done. We are on to Q3. You've got a 12-minute session left to run. 10 drivers involved. Parkster TTVS will not progress, and we have a 5-place grid penalty for Gary Gator, who unfortunately for him will put him at best P6. I just had to think.
After a collision with Parkster.
So the Saubers have had their own little collision, and that is crucial. And we've just seen another
curse for you.
Yeah, Gary, if you wanted us to talk about you, and now you've got, and now we've talked about you a little bit too much, so it's now going to cost you significantly. If you're a racing driver, you do not want to be spoken about too much by commentators, because the commentator's curse is well and truly a force to be reckoned with. So we now got a 12-minute session. 10 drivers looking to fight for pole. We do have another driver that joined mid-session, but they will not be here either. They will be at the back of the grid. I didn't quite catch who it was. However, they will be able to race, I do believe. So, we have a 12-minute session to go. Who's the first out?
What, we putting bets on? It's the Aston Martin.
Is it Hanflap Kelly? It is Hanflap Kelly.
No, it's not.
Is it?
Well, Shoot Fizzle was at the garage first, I think.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was. And then the Williams just got out in front on track.
See, I'm so used to seeing Hanflap Kelly out the garage first in every single session. This is the first time he hasn't actually come out before his teammate, let alone anyone else. So we now have
jostling for position here on track at the moment, going through Eau Rouge. There's a little bit of tactics going on here. Is the Aston Martin going to get through? Yeah, it looks like she's just going to get past, but didn't look like the Williams of Rupsi Cola wanted to let that happen.
I don't know why they fight position here, because this is the longest track on the calendar. You've got tons of room. You don't, and it's early pop session. You do not want to risk any sort of collision, but you've got tons.
There's also
of room.
only 10 people here.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah,
you got.
there's loads of room behind.
Even on a full grid of 20 drivers in a short qualifying or Q1 session, this track is so long, you've got plenty of room. You can go for a lap and you'll be fine. So I don't know why the squabbling over position, but you never know. Mind games could be a factor. Shoot Fizzle, our championship leader, will let's see what he can do on his first flying lap. Sets the pace for everyone else, or will he not? Because chance of invalidation. So the Aston Martin preparing, and everyone is now out on track. Marchmeister has gone out on track as well for the first time mid-session. So we're gonna see whether the Haas stays out and actually does a lap or not. Shoot Fizzle will go on to start a lap. Where does the Aston Martin put himself? Goes down towards La Source. And into turn one, a bit of a lock up on that front right tyre. That is not what you want to be doing now. It's just power down towards Lecom. He's got these flat out Radion, Eau Rouge, and up to and down the Kemmel straight, just completely flat in qualifying trim and race dry tyre race trim for the most part. If you really are that ballsy, through Lecom now. Where does the Aston Martin put himself? And he does a very nice job there, and he just needs to get a decent lap in, just to have a little banker, just to back up, just in case that final run does not go to plan. It'll be ultimately maximising as much as he can. Rucicola has spun it round at Brussels, and we continue on now. Green flags back in that sector. Hopefully will not hold up the McLaren behind them. And in to turn 13 and turn 14, just looks so planted, this Aston Martin. It looks like he has absolute control over that throttle pedal and where the car goes. Through Stavolo, 14-2 in the first two sectors. Can the Aston Martin put a time that is out of everyone the fastest in their first runs? Because there'll be track evolution by the end of the session, we know that. But it is psychologically benefiting to have that final that first run in there into the bus stop now. Where does the what can the Aston Martin do? Got a bit caught up on that first curbing, didn't look perfect. However, a 42.3 is certainly a time that everyone has to beat. We've now got Vekelu on a lap going through sector 3 and through the final chicane up towards the line. He has held a lot of ERS by the end of that lap, over 50%, 43.8, a second and a half off. That is not what you want to be seeing if you are that McLaren.
Yeah, but if he's got quite a lot of ERS remaining, it could be a case of just get a lap out there and just hold back a little bit at the pace. Obviously, in real life F1, we don't have these figures, but because we're on the game, we get access to all of this information, which is great for us to speculate a little bit. Shoot Fizzle there, doing a 0.2 slower than what we saw in the previous session, so just shows a little bit of what could come.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have JPS going up to the line, 42.8, half a second off of Shoot in the Aston Martin, but it doesn't look like Speedqueen goes 42.4, but it looks like the Aston Martin has really turned up the pace here. The McLaren has done so as well. The fastest man in the first part of qualifying, JPS is now only half a second off, maybe using old tyres, but if Shoot is using old as well, that is quite a substantial gap.
We've got the number 5 of Hamflap Kelly, just currently going around sector 2, round Puon at the moment, coming up to set their lap, and it looks fairly clean so far. Coming up into Campus Stavolo, up on the curb, and sends the car sliding a little bit. That's going to slow him down quite a lot. That's going to be at least half a second down, so we're not going to see the complete speed of Handclub Kelly on this lap, but we're going to see the banker lap, and we'll see how it goes unless they come into the pits. So coming up around Blanchemont now, going to use as much of the track as possible all the way over that curb. All of the rest of that ERS going to break now at just after the 100-meter board. Going to have a little lock up, but that's going to be a fairly clean first part of the bus stop. The second part of the bus stop was very lazy, but it looks like that's a 43.7, which isn't too bad. But again, there's a lot of room to go on that lap, but it's not a bad place to be P5 around this track.
Yeah, absolutely. And considering Gary also has that 5 place grid penalty.
Place, yeah.
Yeah, it's that will boost him up into P4. If it stays like this, it most likely won't. But having that, knowing that you can have improvement in going into your final run is quite helpful, because because it means that and if you can get close or surpass the drivers ahead of you, it could really make the difference. I've just been told though in the chat by Shoot Fizzle that he was using old soft compound tyres for his lap. So whatever JPS used, old, new, whatever, that half a second gap, he must have lost that half a second somewhere. So the Mercedes will need to find that on his final run. Speed Queen, though, only just over half a tenth behind the current provisional pole setter. So the McLaren and the Aston Martin look very, very comfortable at this stage.
Yeah, pretty comfortable there. But it's not the end. The end of the day, we know tyres are going to come into play. We know that most of these drivers are probably using old tyres to try and hold back a set for the race, because there could be a case of drivers wanting to use the softs in the race. If there's a safety car, you're going to want a nice fresh set. Got a couple of drivers coming around now. We've got Roopsy Cola, obviously, with that issue that they had before. They were actually on their lap already, I believe. So no, maybe not, because they've just invalidated. So no, they will not be setting the lap this time around. They will now be heavily recharging. Maybe not around sector 3. Maybe they don't realise that they've invalidated, but they've invalidated, so this isn't going to count. But we have got Vakuli coming around now to restart their lap as well.
Yeah, the McLaren is going to be the only driver on track that actually goes for a lap at this stage. 3 minutes 15 to go. He's gone a lap early, and this is what we kind of talked about the last couple of weeks. It's leaving yourself that extra bit of wiggle room for error in terms of time remaining. So if the McLaren makes a mistake early, even by the end of the lap, they've got time to go for one more out lap.
So there's an issue with Vakuli because he's out of sync.
Yeah.
If you have a look at the map, he's actually come out, and the other drivers are coming out of the pits already. So if he catches them too quickly, he's going to be out of sync, and he could be held up here.
Yeah, I've just seen Gary Gator go off the track as well, heading into Radion. So that did not look like a great start for the Sauber. But McLaren now of Vekelu going through towards Lake Holm. Can the McLaren get up there with their teammate of Speed Queen? The driver Vekelu has actually raced for many different teams at this stage in the season. I think he's raced for 4 different teams in 4 races. But the McLaren has got to try and get who is the closest man actually to Shoot Fizzle in the standings. So can the McLaren get close enough to close enough to the Aston Martin, even though qualifying pace wise he hasn't looked very quick, but race pace he's consistent enough that he's able to get his way through the field and into a good position. Now we're going to go through sector 3 now and through and it's a tenth and a half up. So where does the McLaren put themselves? Going to be the first driver to set a time. Can he goes through Blanchemont now? Flat out, he will be costed a little bit by Dirty, yeah, but not by much, as Mark Bowler moves out the way. Bus stop chicane for the final time. for the McLaren. DRS enabled up to the line, very short run. P5 43.7, 300ths ahead of Hamflap Kelly, who has not will not be setting a final run. So that is one driver ahead of the he can be with certainty of being ahead.
So I think the issue with Vikuli's battery and showing it so high is the fact that the deploy is actually so far down, because obviously these cars only have an amount of battery they can actually deploy across the lap, and it's actually recharging quicker than he's actually deploying. So, but there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's absolutely nothing he can do. But at the end of the day, everyone will be having the same sort of issue. Mercedes of JPS will be the next driver who'll cross the line. He's still got a little while to go now. We go through Pouillon. Does the Mercedes get themselves up there with the Aston Martin and the McLaren rivals that they have? Will Gary Gator get himself in there? But that 5-second time, but it has the McLaren has retired from the session on the exit of Pouillon, and that is luckily for him not going to cost him in position, but will certainly cost him in confidence, as Mark Baller has retired on track, I believe, and that is 2 drivers out. So JPS, luckily, is ahead of them, so will not be affected by either driver. And out towards the bus stop chicane goes the Mercedes. Does he just get that nice bit of traction? Yes, he does. No sort of oversteer, wheel spin, or anything of the sorts. 42.3 goes 300s quicker than the Aston Martin. Is that pole position? We're about to find out. We've got Speed Queen currently on a lap going was he a few hundreds up? We're not entirely sure, and goes fastest. Gary Gator goes even quicker, 3.5 tenths quick. He is right up the back of the McLaren. Might have been costed though into because of the confidence of that Sauber. He might have been costed by being caught up by that McLaren by the end of the lap. Here comes our championship leader, Shoot Fizzle, through the bus stop, up towards the line. Has the Aston Martin done enough? He has 41.9, just a tenth clear of the Sauber, and that it might be provisional pole position. We've still got Marchmeister, who's invalidated, and we've got Rupsi Cola, our final driver, to set a lap through the bus stop chicane. Can the Williams put themselves into a fighting position up towards the line? DRS enabled, 43. 3 in the end, and we'll put them down in P5. We'll gain a position though from Gary Gator's penalty, but that into the session, Shoot Fizzle put in the lap and just got pole position over Gary Gator. Speed Queen a good nearly half a second behind. Same with JPS. That Aston Martin looks really quick.
Interestingly, the safety car actually came out on track at the end. I don't really know what that is. I don't know if that's a mechanic of the game or if that was just some kind of glitch, but the safety car was leaving the pits as Rupsi Cola was just going around the first corner. I've never seen that before.
Neither, so I assume it's a glitch. But that is qualifying done with Shoot Fizzle taking yet another pole position, his third pole position in the 3 races he's contested, with only I can't even remember who it was. Who was pole position last week?
I think it was Jay.
Yeah, it was. So Jay.
It's either Jay or Speed Queen.
Might be Speed Queen. I'll have a look. Yeah, Speed Queen. Speed Queen got pole last time out. So we've had 3 pole positions for the Aston Martin this season, who looks really quick in qualifying and has the speed in the race. That Aston Martin has all the keys, but can he unlock the title? We've got a long way to go in the season, but the guys behind him are very quick in race pace condition, race pace trim. But Speed Queen we've never seen face off against Shoot Fizzle, so we'll have to see how McLaren compares to the Aston Martin, and with the other few drivers in there. But with Gary now a few positions back due to that penalty, this could get feisty in the next few laps for Gary, and he needs to get through these guys quick to catch that leading trio. Yeah, we've got to go on to formation lap now. I believe we're going to see a little bit of a mixture of tyres, yeah, we got a very big mix. A few soft runners, a few mediums, and 2 hard runners. Shoot Bizzle on the softs. The 3 behind him of Speed Queen, JPS and Ruxicola on the mediums. This guy Neo and Vickerly on the hards, followed by Gator once more on the mediums. Hamflap Kelly and March Smice on the softs. Mark Ball on the mediums with Parkstar and TTV Yes on the softs, and that is our 12-car grid. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays a factor into the race.
I'm very interested to see the hard runners right in the middle of the pack. I think they're hoping for some kind of issue at the front, and then I don't know, rinse past them, and then hope for try and make a gap. But I'm a little bit. If there was someone in the back that jumped on the hards, I'd have expected that. But right in the middle of the pack, that seems a bit. That's brave.
Yeah, I mean, it could work out, but at the same time, it does look like the softs do have a decent pace around here in general. But
softs are mighty around here.
But will they last? Because at the end of the day, these drivers.
No.
But yeah, so at the end of the day, it does seem like the one stop is possible as a soft and medium. But is that the question? Will this guy Neo and Vekalu go hard soft and offset their medium pace, the medium runners, by a couple laps? So then they'll be struggling a bit more with tyre wear. So it'll be interesting to see how strategy plays a key factor into this race, as drivers will be aiming to try and maintain position if you're on hard compound tyres, and gain position in that lower end of the field. You've got 4 drivers on softs, so they'll be aiming to make their way by the rest of them. Disqualification there for Parks and TTV. Yes, there might have been a bit of contact, as the 2 drivers on the back row of the grid will not be able to optimise their grid box position.
Well, that's a shame for them, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much you can do at the end of the day. At the back of the grid, so it's not going to make too much of a difference at the end of the day compared to them. Speed Queen have disqualified themselves from that the grid formation, so unfortunately for them, will not be in an optimised position. But everyone else is lining up on the grid now, and we will be ready for the 4th round of Neo Racing League. We're going to go 3, 4, 5 red lights for round 4. As a drive-through penalty of a jump start for Hamflap Kelly, and that is lights out of the way we go. But Aston Martin has cost themselves immediately into turn 1. Through Fizzle goes, maintains their lead. Hamflap Kelly's alongside Speed Queen, but that Aston Martin has significantly ruined their race in the first few meters, and that is absolutely detrimental. We're going to go down towards down the Kemmel Straight towards Lecom. Can the Aston Martin defend from Speed Queen? We've got JPS going for a move on Ruxicola, and up towards P4 they go. Ruxicola managed to get by the Mercedes off the line, but the Williams has lost out into spinner, and that's a McLaren of Vekalu, who has lost out on positions. Carries on though, but is down in P12. Continue on now, no safety car at this time, but Shoot Fizzle leads the way ahead of Speed Queen by nearly 9/10 of a second.
We've got Gary going for a move now on Ruxicola as well, up into Puon. Both of them on the medium tyres, coming up now into the chicane in the middle of sector, and it looks like Gary's got that all lined out. The issue at the back with Viculi, I don't think there was any. I don't think there's any damage. I think it was just 2 cars coming together. I don't know who the other car was, but it just looked like 2 cars in one place at one time.
Yeah, unfortunate for Bekuli. As we go down towards Blanchimont, that Aston Martin on those softs looks quick. You've got to remember, he is on that soft compound of tyres, so that will be helping his advantage. We're going to go down towards the bus stop now. If you're Jay, you just want to sit behind into the chicane and hope that Hamflap Kelly does go into the take his drive through, but he doesn't. He will stay out a couple of laps. And Hamflap Kelly looks to defend for his teammate, no less, and try and help themselves in the constructors. These two do strategize before the race, and they do work together very well. As we go down towards Rouge and Radion. Can JPS get by? He's going to have the slipstream, he's going to have the toe, he doesn't even need DRS, he's going to go around the outside. Here comes JPS, and he goes through very, very quickly. Didn't even need DRS, but it's just a helping factor at this stage. Into P3 once more is the Mercedes. Can he pull away from the Aston Martin and get closer towards his rivals of Speed Queen, who is on the same strategy at this time? The McLaren hasn't managed to take advantage of that Aston Martin and pull away from the Mercedes, but it looks likely that they will begin to hold each other up.
This has been a great start for Fizzle. Absolutely brilliant. He's already broken DRS. He's nearly 2 seconds ahead, making absolute use of those soft tyres. But we've got to remember that those soft tyres, if you hammer them, they are not going to pay well towards the end of the stint. Speed Queen doesn't have to worry too much, because they can just run their own race, run their own pace, and just hope to gain in strategy, really, because we don't know what the strategy is for Speed Queen. They might be going for a soft towards the end. They might be going hard towards the end. So it could all even out here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Gary Gator. It's now going to go for a move around the outside of Blanchimont and takes the move on Hamlet Kenny, who sends him up the inside. That is ballsy. But Hamlet Kenny goes into the pit. That cost Gary a little bit more time. But it will, and that could cost him later on in the race, who now is not within that 1 second window of the Mercedes and the McLaren in front. And that has opened up the opportunity for Rupsi-Cola, who is in their DRS, going to go down through Rouge and Radion once more. Can Speed Queen defend from the Mercedes? It's quite a large gap, so I don't think it's, the McLaren's going to come under too much pressure this time. Same for the Sauber from the Williams behind them. But it is now just, they need to be careful not to lose too much time fighting, because that Aston Martin in front is 1.6 seconds clear, has not pulled as much of a gap, and actually has lost time in this in the last lap, and at the moment looks like he's starting to run out of tyres already.
Yeah, quite possibly, but it could also be a case of battery usage and battery management. So it might not be as big of a deal as what we think. It could be a case of absolute charge, or absolute push, sorry, on the first few laps, and then just manage for a couple of laps and then push again. But what the interesting battle is going to be is definitely between the two race protagonists from last week, and that is the Speed Queen and JPS. What's going on around P1? It looks like it's Mark again. Mark had a bit of an issue in Sector 1 as well, but it looks like he's now gone off in P1. He's got wing damage. Mark needs to go a little bit easy, I think, because otherwise stewards might look at him for messing about too much. So, coming up now towards La Source, is Jay going to be quick enough to make any moves and to look calm? What do we think?
He's certainly closer. Heading onto the exit bus stop. It was an 8/10 gap at the end of, no, it was a 6/10 gap, sorry, at the end, so it's about the same now. He has lost a little bit of time on exit to Speed Queen, but it looks to be a bit closer. Heading into the DRS zone, has got half a second, but can the McLaren defend this time? The Mercedes certainly say that their battery down the inside into later calm, brakes later, has to take a little alternative line. However, the Mercedes is through for P2. Speed Queen not fighting too harshly here, however, putting the Mercedes off just enough to cause a little bit of issue throughout the rest of the late calm, so don't pull away on exit. And now the McLaren might try and use, and the Mercedes might try and work together a little bit here. Use each other's DRS to pull themselves towards the Aston Martin, who's only a second and a half ahead on the soft compound of tyres. So that does mean the Aston Martin will have to pit earlier than these two, but it will also give him a tyre offset for a couple laps. And probably the biggest tyre offset between for the whole race in his favour, but we'll have it for a very short period. The McLaren is closing in on the Mercedes, but it will not be he will not be close enough for the bus stop at this stage. If you're in this situation, do you want to work with your rival? Let's actually hold off on that question for a second. Parkster has had a little incident on the exit of turn 16 or 15. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but Parkstar has really cost themselves as drop behind the McLaren, and there's been a bit of contact between them and Flap Kelly, and now that's damage for the Aston Martin, and this race has gone from bad to worse for the driver who had the drive through and now has to go into the pit lane. That is very unfortunate. Oh, and
yeah, that's unnecessary there from Flap Kelly. But it looks like the McLaren at Speed Queen has just made a move for the lead, and it looks like they are just bringing themselves back together. What they need to think about is just use those DRS overtakes, because it can pull them closer to the Aston Martin ahead of them. Look, they're at 1.1 seconds now behind, so they're very near to that DRS window. The tyre offset between the softs and the hards, the softs and the mediums, will be coming in now. So, what's going on here?
That's
what?
Speed Queen's out.
Speed Queen's just disconnected, I think. Speed Queen just when I thought I was disconnected, that's why I went a bit quiet. Speed Queen just got on the grass, went into the wall, and then straight into the wall and retired the car. That looks like a bit of some kind of controller or disconnection issue. And this is the issue with sim racing. There's so many factors outside of the car, the driving, the other drivers on track. It's more your internet connection, it's your console, it's your controller. It's all these other factors you got to play with.
Yeah, absolutely. As I'm not even. I wasn't even. I just heard him go off. And I'm absolutely baffled. So that has completely turned the race on their head, and that is Speed Queen out of the race, and people are going to come into the pits now for a change of tyres. It is lap 5, so there is an opportunity for some of these drivers to switch onto the alternative compound of tyre. However, a couple drivers will stay out. This guy Neo being one of them, who is on the hard compound of tyres, looks to help JPS as well, as they just get ahead of Shoot Fizzle. But that is unfortunate for the McLaren, and Speed Queen will have to sit the rest of this race out. This guy Neo, though, leads the way and will be able to hold up Shoot Fizzle for his teammate, who's only in P3 of JPS.
So let's have a bit of a chat now about strategy. So who does this help out and who doesn't it help out? So realistically, it helps out anyone that wasn't on the hards, because we were coming up towards the pit window anyway. Pit window was going to start around lap 8 to about lap 12. We're only a couple of laps ahead of that now, so you could come in for the hards, and that's exactly what most of the field has done. However, those that have started the race on the hards, they're the ones that they're going to struggle now, because take Gary. I'm pretty sure Gary started on the hards. He's gone onto the mediums, and this guy Neo's just stayed on the hards, because yes, it could help his teammate, but at the end of the day, there's not much he could have done there, because the mediums might make it to the end, but your tyres aren't going to feel very nice at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very difficult, but I've seen, I was, when I was doing commentary last week for WOR, he had a very, very different, we thought that the softs would not last half the race, and they did after a wet weather period, so it could very much be okay for Gary. He might struggle towards the end, but if he manages tyres correctly. And now actually, this guy now has gone into the back of the safety car.
Stuart's inquiry.
That's a steward inquiry.
Ben will not appreciate that.
I'm sure Bert will not be happy about being hit up from behind by this guy Neo, so we'll have to get him on speed. I hope I had him on speed dial. How do you feel, Bert? But unfortunately, that might have cost this guy Neo a little bit of front wing damage. It looks okay, but it could be light front wing damage. Actually, I've just been told, I didn't realise this, Gary's gone mediums to No, hasn't he? He was starting on hards, didn't he?
We can check that with the race director. So
Yeah, he's done
Gary,
mediums. Yeah,
he's done medium. Okay, so sorry, it must have been Vikuli that was started on the hards then, and
yeah.
Vikuli stayed out as well, and that this hasn't really helped him either because um he's still in the middle of the pack. He's not really made any gains, so that's a bit of a shame for Vikuli.
Yeah, the only one that's really a hard runner of this guy Neo though did really gain, taking the lead, but it's got a whole load of defending to do. I don't know if that's strategy between the Mercedes runners, but it looks like it could potentially. But the hard runner of Neo would have had to stop again most likely by the end of the race. So it probably was best for him to stay out. Maybe hope for a safety car later on. I can bring themselves back into this. If anything happens, Parkstar has retired from the session, and we're going to have 10 drivers left in the race, all scoring points. But now they've all got to really get their heads down. They're all going to be fighting as hard as they possibly can, and it could end in a lot of chaos.
Yeah, all the cars back together on track. There's going to be a bit of impatience here. We've got Gary there on the mediums on the softer compound. We've got the really fast drivers of Shoot Fizzle and JPS right there. Got this guy Neo on slightly used tires. I think it's going to get messy. It's definitely going to get messy.
Yeah, it absolutely could. As those hard runners will be holding up the drivers bar, and then will we be seeing the end of the safety car this lap? We will. Safety car is in this lap, as this guy now will now take the control of the pace as we go round sector 3. At this point, everyone will most likely go at the end of the bus stop chicane, but do you go earlier just to take your rivals by surprise, or do you want them in a traction zone where they can potentially lose the back end? It is all about strategy for Neo. He needs to make sure he does a decent getaway, or if he's looking to hold up Shoot Fizzle, to help JPS, he could have a very different strategy into the bus stop chicane. We go, and that looked like there's a bit of contact. There's a bit of contact.
Oh.
Shoot Fizzle has spun round this guy Neo, and that is absolutely unfortunate for Neo, who was trying to get a good run and could not, and that has opened up Shoot Fizzle's lead. But that could be a steward's inquiry in itself for the Aston Martin, as the Mercedes now will be in P2, ahead behind Gary Gator, who's accompanying him with Rupsi Cola down the back Hemel straight now. It is going to be side by side between TTV Yes and Vekelu. The Sauber has a little look, and that means but the Sauber maintains position. TTV Yes has moved up to P5 ahead of the McLaren on the older hard tyres. But it is now completely changed the race as Gary up the inside, trying to make a move on those medium compound tyres, potentially looking to use this as a strategy option to get by and hope there's another safety car later on, or a VSC potentially to help them with their pit strategy. TTV, yes, 3-second time penalty, our first track limits penalty of the race. Through the chicane we go. Can Gary catch up to the Aston Martin of Shoot Fizzle? The man who had 5-place grid penalty in qualifying is now on the hunt against the Aston Martin.
You can tell that Shoot Fizzle's on an absolute charge now, because he's just trying to break that DRS, because he does not want that medium runner in front of him, because he knows it could be difficult later on. But it looks like he's not going to be able to do it this lap, but we'll see what happens coming up. On the main overtaking point is going to be Lecom, so let's wait and see what happens then.
Yeah, absolutely. It's now we're going to go on to lap 9. DRS will now be enabled. We go down towards La Source as the Sauber looks to try and gain on the Aston Martin, the Mercedes behind them. We've got 5 drivers within this group now, 5 different teams as well. So this is all against they're all against one another. No team strategies. It's all to play for these 5 drivers. Shoot Fizzle leads Gary Gator's got the DRS. We're going to go down towards Lecom. Does the Sauber make any sort of move? No, he's not close enough. And unfortunately, that Sauber has to sit behind once more, as that Aston Martin just has supreme pace at this stage.
Big lockups from 2 cars at the front of this pack. Both of them are absolutely pushing. It's going to be interesting to see if these tyres do hold up and to see when a mistake will come, because we know it's going to come. 5 cars all together on track, all within that DRS range, and it is going to get chaos.
It's going to get chaotic, as now Archmaster and Hamflap Kelly have also got past Vekulu, so they're up with P6 and P7. At this stage, the McLaren is really struggling on their older hard compound of tyres, potentially just taking that default strategy and trying to make it work. At this time, though, the Aston Martin is trying to get away from the Sauber of Gary Gator, but it's just not looking like it's going to work, but has very good pace overall, and that Aston Martin does look very quick. Gary goes through the chicane now, through the bus stop, is right up behind the Aston Martin. He has a little look. Is he going to try and make a move? He does have a look, but does actually decide to sit behind for the first corner, and now down towards Eau Rouge and Radion. Does the Sauber do what needs to be done? Does the Sauber try and get by and then try and use that sector 2 to get away? DRS for the Sauber. Does Gary get by? Gary takes the lead out of the Belgian Grand Prix and ahead of Schuttwiesel, who tries to cut him back but can't do much about it, and now tries to have a little look down the inside on the exit of Lacon, but maybe trying to throw off the Sauber as we go through Brussels for the 10th time in the race, and the Sauber now needs to just try and get away. Gary has got the softer of the 2 drivers' compounds, but those tyres will begin to degrade at a much faster rate in comparison.
Yeah, I think what happened here was the case that Gary just did a bit of a dummy into turn 1 La Source, and then I think it scared Schuttwiesel a little bit, and then it caused for him to have a great exit, and then was just right in that DRS zone where he needed to be. But I think Gary has a lot less batteries available than what Schuttwiesel has, so it's going to be quite hard for him to defend now against that Aston Martin, which has already looked so quick. And you can see in Sector 3, and well, even in Sector 2, sorry, the Aston Martin is stuck right to the back of the Sauber, and in Sector 3 we're still within 2.5 tenths.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is really where it's going to become the struggle for Gary. Has he done this just to help himself get by and hope for everyone has to pit later on? I know it doesn't look likely, but those hards could be worse off later on. Maybe he's trying to offset that and try and come back later on the soft tyres. We don't know, but that Sauber needs to try and get away half a second clear as we go through Radion and Eau Rouge and Radion. Now onto the Kemmel Straight once more as we come up to the halfway point of the race. Schuttwiesel looks close. He's getting close. But JPS is just behind them as we go down towards the Kemmel Straight into turn 1. Lock up there for the Aston Martin. JPS cuts the corner trying to make an overtake of Gary Gay. Gets the 3-second time penalty, and that has really hurt the Mercedes' race, as now Schuttwiesel retakes the lead ahead of Gary Gator. But that Aston Martin got by cleanly, and that Mercedes of JPS has to sit behind, with now that time penalty looming over him for the rest of the race.
Yeah, we're at the midpoint of the race now, and we're going to see drivers really pushing and making those mistakes and pushing the boundaries where they're not meant to, and that's why the penalties are starting to come in. Marchmeister now making up the penalty box. So, end of Sector 2 now, you can see Schuttwiesel was actually really capitalised here. 7 tenths already. I think Gary's struggling a little bit.
I think he is too, because those tyres are looking like they are degrading compared to the hards, or he's having some sort of mistake. Those tyres are not becoming not as comfortable as what they once were. Into the bus stop, he does lock up a little bit though as we go into there, and gets a bit of oversteer on exit. Doesn't have the best of exits, and that has almost let Schuttwiesel scamper as we go into the source. Lock up there for the Aston Martin. Can the Sauber get close enough once more, but has a Mercedes of JPS charging towards him. And at the moment, that Mercedes is right in the mirrors. We go through Eau Rouge, we go through Radion for the 12th time. Can the Mercedes go through? He looks left, he looks right, but the Sauber cannot do anything about the hard charging Mercedes, and JPS takes P2 once more, and now he can set his sights on Shoot Fizzle like he has wanted to do all race long. It's as Gary, they look to try and drop Gary from that 1 second window as he begins to struggle that little bit more. But that Aston Martin looks supreme pace-wise. They need to start forcing that Shoot Fizzle to make some sort of error. We go through Pouon for once more, and can they get close enough? Or Shoot Fizzle is pulling that gap. He looks quick, and he is quick, and that Aston is pulling that gap away from last season's champion, no less. And he, at the moment, Gary is going to make a nuisance of himself for the Mercedes. And wow, Shoot looks clear away once more.
So we've got another battle on track at the moment. That's for P6. And it's Hamflap Kelly and Marchmeister, and they've been battling for a couple of laps now, completely side by side. It's the other Aston Martin on track, and this could be a good one to watch because it's getting very close. Oh, it looks like Marchmeister's now going to go for a move up the inside of the bus stop. No, he's not. He's going to wait until the DRS comes around. But yeah, this one's looking incredibly close because it doesn't look like we're going to see too much this lap round from the guys ahead. So let's have a look right on this one and see how this one goes.
Yeah, so now we're going to stay on with Hamflap Kelly. I believe that this the Heart of Marchmeister might get close enough. He's going to have the run. He's going to have a slipstream through towards Eau Rouge and Radion. Up the hill now, and DRS's TTV, yes, gets by for P4, but Marchmeister here, he comes for P6 and gets by well before the braking zone, and a Haas back up to P6, the Alpine up to P4, and this looks like it could get even more feisty as the laps died as the race winds down. But these guys are 6 seconds off, and with Marchmeister, with that 3 second time penalty, it favours the Aston Martin of Hamflap Kelly.
So, just thinking about strategy again. Let's go back to this conversation. Gary still has to pit again. This guy Neo still has not pitted from the start of the race. Neither is Fakuli. What we're just holding out for now is a bit of a safety car. And then I think we'll start to see the pin getting dropped. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a late stop for softs at this point. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think there is a chance for drivers to go to the softs. Oh, actually,
okay.
Here's the safety car
yeah. Well, there you go.
Mark's
welcome. This guy Neo Bakuli, because it's going to bring you back in the race.
Same with Gary as well, because it means that he doesn't have to pit out sequence and fall well down the order. Mark has made his mark on the race by retiring and causing that safety car, and the RB is now out of the race. 9 drivers remain as Gary actually pulls ahead of... Never mind, I'm wrong because I saw the wrong driver.
Put Inters on.
You what?
They've put Inters on. I'm not even joking. They've put Inters on Gary's car.
Oh my...
Gary Gator has Inters on the mystery machine. That is not... Oh dear.
Oh, well, if it wasn't a mystery machine before...
Oh my God.
If it wasn't a mystery machine before, it is certainly a mystery machine now, because the mystery is of what has happened to Gary, because now he's on those intermediate tyres. Oh my Gideon. There should be rain soon. Hold on, I've just been told something in chat. Vakuli, thank you for telling me that. There should be rain soon. Oh, yay.
Well, it is Belgium.
Well, it's Belgium.
But if there's no drops of rain yet, those tyres are going to burn out.
Exactly, and
they're going to be absolutely useless unless it starts absolutely chucking it down on this lap.
Well, At the moment, the safety car should go round for another time anyway because it hasn't completed a whole lap yet. But this is unbeknownst knowledge that we did not know, and all of a sudden has thrown another spanner into the mix that we were not expecting, and Gary could come out in a good position considering it's a very long lap round here though. But so that means it could start raining in one place and not as much in another place. So it'll be interesting to see whether the Sauber has made the right call.
So for those of you that are new to our commentary, Monte Callisto's, what will be interesting information is that Gary Gator must have gone to the Callisto driving school, because this is an absolute Callisto move when it comes to strategy. Find out when it's going to rain, and if it's going to rain and there's a safety car, just go and put the alternate tyres on. Because and I'll tell you what, it does work. It really does work.
It was 2 games ago though. It wasn't a while ago.
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It paid off.
It did.
Multiple races.
Well,
there, look, Shoot Fizzle's coming to the pits.
He's got
the
damage.
Drivers are pulling the pin.
Shoot Fizzle got damage off that.
Damage.
Yeah, he caught the wall. He got damage off that. Surely. I can't see from here. Oh, that's. Alright,
sorry for that.
You got a bit
anticlimactic there.
Yeah. Okay, well, while you sort your controller, Shoot Fizzle came into the pits, clipped the wall, might have front wing damage, but he looks to be okay temporarily. But yeah, like you say, a very me move doing that, putting on the inters early, and now everyone's starting to follow suit. You said I did 2 races in a row. I did the opposite in the following race. I went from inters to tries when it was still wet, but. Yeah, so this could be very interesting for these drivers now, because if it doesn't rain, JPS is in a very good position. TTV, yes, is in a very good position. Marchmeister and this guy Neo included. So, whereas the same with Vekuli, who's now on the softs once more, but it could go the other way because because if it rains hard now, yes, it might not benefit them early. It might benefit them come halfway through the lap when it's such a long lap, and you've just got to bear in mind the rain. It could just come down like that, and all of a sudden it's intermediates. This game has its ways, and sometimes it'll be raining for ages and nothing will happen, or it'll just be raining and that's it, it's wet. So we'll have to wait, and it could just flip on a dime this race. But it's not raining at the moment. As we come round, poo on, and it looks like the safety car will be in this lap.
It's a difficult one because there's only about 7-8 laps to go now, and the rain could hold off. It might not rain if it's like 10 minutes of rain. If that's what the drivers are being told, that could be a case of actually. The dry tyres are still going to be quickest.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Safety car in this lap, but the dry tyres all have 3-second time penalties as well. So if it doesn't rain, this could really make their. It doesn't rain quite yet. This could make their penalties obsolete for the most part.
Tyres are going to burn out right now. Yeah, they're going to burn out.
They are going to burn out, and actually, it's just started raining, so it's not going to get wet enough. So
that's how hard it is.
This is the crucial moment when it does. JPS just needs to go and get on with it, because he cannot afford to lose even a millisecond as we go now to the green flag for the 16th time, down towards turn 1. He just needs to get on with it. He cannot afford to lose any sort of time here, because these guys these drivers behind him will be burning up their tyres. As Gary has got a decent start on the inters, pulling away from TTVS and Marchmeister as these two look to battle once more, and they go battle for P3. Marchmeister almost goes into the back of TTVS and luckily gets away with no collision, and Haas up to P3, the Alpine down to P4, but they've caught a intermediate runner of Gary Gator. They need to get through now, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen at the minute. Gary struggling, but they're trying to get their way through. Gary is doing an excellent job on those intermediates, all while giving JPS a more and more of a lead. 2.5 second gap between him and the second place runner, who is starting to struggle on those inters because those tyres are getting significantly warmer. We're going to see Marchmeister to the outside, and same with TTVS, and they're both past the Sauber as this guy Neo is now looking for a way by. He's got to try and find traction on the exit of Stavilo, because this could be this is getting more and more detrimental for the Mercedes, who is now stuck behind the Sauber, who is doing an excellent job on those intermediates to manage that pace. All while those tyres will be screaming right now.
Yeah, but we're starting to get to the point where it's going to become more of a swing towards the intermediates. I don't think it's just yet, but I think it could be halfway around this lap, so it could be a really good time to come into the pits, as we see from the was it the Alpine? Yeah, TTVS coming into the pits there. JPS still pushing around as much as you can. You can see the cars already starting to dance around where that light layer of water is on the track, but nothing overly concerning yet. But hang on, Gary Gates has just gone straight across Radion, so that's going to be a bit of a warning for him. He's now under threat from this guy Neo, and look who's coming back into the fray. Shoot Fizzle. So it's going to be we're already seeing the fight for the lead start to play out again. Oh, there's a little bit of a tap there from Shoot Fizzle on the back of Gary Gates' car. Shoot needs to be a little bit easy on these moves and getting too close to the back of the cars, because we've already seen that he could potentially be under investigation already.
Yeah, absolutely. That could that Aston Martin not afraid of having a little bit of a nosing with the real bit of other drivers. However, he is getting so close to the Sauber as the Mercedes is now starting to struggle as they go up the inside potentially of this guy Neo, trying to make a move, but around the outside goes Shoot Fizzle. There's a bit of contact there, and the Aston Martin has ghosted, but Gary and Shoot had some form of contact there, and the Aston Martin's come out on top. Gary having almighty oversteer, and please do not get caught up in another incident. And Gary, like those intermediates, have been pushed too hard because they're screaming with now, because they are, and now he's losing more and more time, more and more positions, giving Shoot Fizzle P4, and at the moment is now a couple positions ahead, and this is the crucial turning point in the race, because it is starting to get wetter as the drivers head around the track. This guy Neo has dropped a position to Shoot Fizzle. But the JPS Marchmeister still and this guy Neo still out on those dry weather tyres.
This is really interesting because it's absolutely time for the intermediate tyres now. This is perfect conditions for the inters. You can see how much grip Shoot Fizzle now has. He's now chasing down Marchmeister, but for JPS and Marchmeister, it's worth holding out to see if they can hold any kind of positions. But with the amount of laps they've got to go, I don't think it's going to be they're going to be at the back either way. They've rolled the dice, and this is what they've been served. But let's wait and see if the other cars can actually make it through. It looks like Shoot Fizzle's already past Marchmeister. I missed that on my end. I don't know if you caught that on yours, but yeah, we're seeing those inters really start to come into play.
Yeah, those inters drivers are really starting to hold their own, as there's this guy Neo who's gone well off the circuit, and that is absolutely devastating for a Mercedes that has not had the best of races. Some of it is not his own fault. It's not even his own fault. He got caught up with Shoot Fizzle punting him around, which will maybe be investigated after the race. But all eyes will now be on the two race leaders. Dry compound for JPS, intermediate compounds for Shoot Fizzle. It's only a matter of time. Heading up to Pouon, can when does the Aston Martin make his move? It's not if, it's a when. We go up towards the bus stop. The Mercedes may have to just think about doing the pit stop as he goes very, very wide, and that is a free. Oh, never mind. That's a 3 second for his teammate. This guy Neo. I thought that's a 3 second for him, but JPS has now dropped down to P2. Shoot Vissel, our championship leader, up to the lead, but he has something looming over him. Now Rupsi Cola is up to P3. Gary Gator up to P4.
Into and it's now.
Your audio's just died, so I'm not entirely sure what's happening there. You kind of was very, very robotic for a minute. Shoot Fizzle currently leading the way. We'll see if we can get Stig back in a moment. If he interrupts me, hopefully we'll hear him. But Rupsi Cola up to P2, Gary Gayer up to P3, JPS down to P4. Your audio's broken for me. Back again. Hold on. Want to speak now? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, on my end, it looked like you can. Your audio just died from my OBS. So, yeah. So you're back now.
Okay, both of us then. Okay, it might have been me. Okay, onwards, onwards.
Onwards and upwards. Okay, right. So JPS dropping down to P5 as this wet weather is causing a bit of issues for us now, as we're gonna go as JPS just having all sorts of problems, and this has gone from bad to worse for Mercedes, who looked to go into this race trying to fight Shoot Fizzle, who's leading the way by 5 seconds now, and is dropping down the order very, very quickly. Shoot Fizzle leading away by 5 seconds. Rupsi Cola a second clear of Gary Gator, who's looking to make up for lost ground after a contact with the Aston Martin, but at the moment has got that Williams between them, and the Sauber needs to get within needs to get by as quickly as possible, because he cannot afford to lose time to that Aston Martin TTV. Yes, it's past March. Actually, there's something that's happened in the pit lane. JPS is in the wall. He's out the session. He's in the wall in the pit entry. There's this guy Neo. There's a couple drivers involved in that, and there's a bit of issue there with drivers going into each other. So Nat is Mercedes out the race. I was a bit confused on what happened there, but that JPS is now out, and that is a horrid day for the Mercedes, who looked quick throughout the whole race, and that one tyre call cost him dearly.
So I had heard that Marchmeister and JPS had entered Formula Drift for this session, but actually no, it turns out they've now come back to Formula One. Pikuli is still marching out on those soft tyres. I mean, fair enough. Just get a little bit of wet weather track practice in, I guess. But out up front, 6.5 seconds ahead is Shoot Fizzle, and it looks like an easy win for him right now, unless those investigations that are potentially pending over him are going to come back to bite him a little bit. It depends what Rupsi Cola and Gary Gator and how close they can stay to that Aston Martin, because it could completely change the look of this race.
Yeah, I mean, 6.5 seconds is quite a substantial gap, but there has been a couple incidents which involved the Aston Martin, and one quite significant, the other bit more minor. So he could face quite a severe penalty comes race end. Lap 21 of the race, the penultimate lap for the Aston Martin, as he looks comfortable for victory on track. And Rupsi Cola in P2, 1.2 seconds behind the ahead of the Sauber of Gary Gator, and Black Kelly is quite far. This is our only real battle now for position, as Gary tries to overcome the Williams of Rupsi Cola, who's had a very consistent race overall.
I'll come back a lot from qualifying. Rupsi Cola are obviously struggling quite a bit in qualifying. I can't remember where they qualified, but yeah, dealing with a little bit of oversteer at the moment, but not a bad race from Rupsi Cola today.
Yeah, not a bad race at all. Williams showing what he's made of, and was asking for an interview a couple of weeks ago, and and he certainly deserves one today. He certainly deserves to be asked about this race and see what he says. And Shoot Fizzle though, once more doing. Just pulling that gap. He's 7.8 seconds clear. He's pulling basically a second a lap over that Williams, and that Aston Martin just looks ridiculously quick. But anyway, we're going to continue on as driver of the day. We'll have to. I'm thinking. Should start be running well all race, but Rootsy Cola out of this actually has come back through quite nicely, so I might have to give it to him. There has been an overtake though further down the order. This guy Neo has got past Vecaloo for P7, but there's penalties. So does the McLaren get it back? He's got a second to gain, but he's going all sorts of off tracks, so I don't think that penalty.
The McLaren's on soft.
Oh, is he?
Don't worry about the McLaren.
So that McLaren is not even. So that Mercedes is P7 looks pretty safe at this stage. We're on to the final lap of the race now. Shoot Fizzle is leading the way. I think my driver today might go Rupsi Cola as long as he can keep it in this P2. What is yours looking like?
I mean, you can't deny that Shoot Fizzle has driven like an absolute champion today, and you can't. Yes, there have been a couple of mistakes and there's been a couple of issues which will get looked at by the stewards, I'm sure. But in terms of the strategy that they've gone for, and that those first couple of laps really making that gap, and then this wet stint towards the end, keeping those tyres in check. Rupsicola, I mean, solid race, very consistent across all of it, I believe, and but nothing really to report as such. Just kind of almost kind of lucked out in a way. That's my issue. If we still had Speed Queen and JPS in the race, I don't think Reeps Cola would currently be on that podium. But this is the race that Reeps Cola has had, and they've just really been consistent across the race, which has been great for them. Gary Gator pulling that Inters card and actually throwing for the rest of the field to go on to the Inters, because I don't think the rest of the field would have done it if Gary hadn't done it. So you've got to give it to Gary for actually trying that different strategy. So I think any of the top three can have it. But as we come around the final corner now, Shoot Fizzle is going to take the on-track race lead by 9.5 seconds, it looks like, unless Shoot Fizzle has an amazing sector 3, but it looks like 9.5 second lead. That's an amazing lead after that, 9.9 seconds in the end. So that's a pretty decent lead to have, especially when you're pending investigations.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it certainly helps. He might, if there's a 10-second involved, if it is a 10-second, Roops Cola will take P1, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. And that is our race. Well done to Shoot Fizzle on taking the race win. We will try and get some interviews done. Let's try and get an interview done. So that is quite a good race. A bit of rain thrown in the mix, and Shoot Fizzle, our championship leader, extends his lead as we try and get a couple people in for interviews. In the meantime, I'm going to put ourselves to the intermission screen just while we get everything sorted. We'll be a couple minutes and we'll be back shortly. So, congratulations once more, Shoot Bizzle. It's like it's only like yesterday you had you in this commentary, but commentary box. Congratulations on race
What,
win.
2 weeks ago?
Yeah, only a couple of weeks ago. Congratulations on another race win. In Neo, how are we feeling?
I mean, because obviously there was the weird contact with Neo, even though on my stream I don't hit him, but I saw on this stream that I didn't. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I mean,
Because he was lagging. He lagged all race.
yeah, I mean, if there's lag involved, then it might be. It'll just come down to steward review. But you've had it under control the whole race pretty much. Your soft pace looked very, very good. However, in after a couple of laps, it did look like it died off. Was it their mistake or was that just a tyre wear?
On the soft run, I was just keeping it calmer. I was just, making it steady. Making sure I didn't make mistakes. Because I think by the end of lap 3, my tyre wear was on like 20.
Yeah, it looked like you were struggling towards the end of that first stint, and it was it looked like if Speed Queen hadn't had that incident and crashed off track, it looked like they were going to start reeling you in a little bit. But it was an unfortunate race there for Speed Queen. But yeah, what I'm interested in, Fizzle, is you going on to the Inters? Was that caused by Gary, or
Yes.
were you already considering that?
We were talking, me and Kelly, like we were gonna do one on, one off. But then I was like, you know what? We may as well both do it. I was scared. And then when I saw safety car in, I was like, oh, I was pure like, oh no, what have I done? I thought I fumbled it and JPS just got a free win.
I mean,
But
yeah, it looked like it was.
God.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like a very good move in the end. It looked like it wasn't going to rain until those last couple of corners to safety car. In your mind, were you a bit worried that you're about to lose a race win based on the strategy call?
Yeah, literally, I was saying to Kelly how we should have done the one on and one off thing, but then it became started to rain, and we were celebrating like we just got a 1-2.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't blame you. So heading into next week, I should always check this before I say this. How are you feeling going into the next race, which is at Australia?
Oh, I'm winning that. I'm minting Australia.
So
Right, you've just incriminated yourself there. You were so crashing out at turn 4.
Yeah.
Nah, 24. Hold on.
Turn 4.
Doing maths.
That's what I'm saying.
Nah, I'm sick of that corner.
No. So, well, a bit of confidence there from you. Thank you once more for the interview. I've got some more to get through. So, thank you and congratulations on your victory. And we will maybe see you next week in this commentary box.
Congratulations.
Oh, we will. Okay, congratulations, mate. Hey, have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Yes. Right, let's chuck Rupsy Cola in next because. Hello, Rupsy Cola. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Congratulations on the P2. How are we feeling after that race?
Yeah, great. I didn't have a good pace. I was like 1 second behind in quali. So I was like, oh, I'm just gonna stay consistent throughout the race, not get in any incidents. And I did that, and I got P2.
Yeah.
Like I always say, quali isn't everything. It's all about the race pace. At the end of the day, that's where the points are paid. It was good consistency today, and Kalisto was really singing up your praises today. So there's a really good effort there. So nicely earned podium today.
Yeah, thanks.
So
how did you find conditions today?
It was a bit weird. Because I think I know what the app was gonna do. It was gonna dry up after the rain again. At least that was what my engineer told me. it was gonna dry up again after the rain in like 10 minutes after the rain started. So I think he just wanted to sit out the rain and then be quicker on mediums. But I saw Gary go on to the intermediates, and I thought I'll just wait one lap and then box onto the intermediates. I did that together with Shoot Vessel, and yeah, that got me P2. But Shoot Vessel was just another league.
Yeah, absolutely fair enough. So do you, so heading into that race, did you feel confident about both your drying into pace and your consistency, or did you feel like you were going to struggle?
Yeah, I didn't feel consistent at all. I was trying a lot of different setups. I didn't feel like I was confident with one. I made one myself. I had great consistency with it, not my pace, but my consistency was great. So I thought, let's just go with this.
Yeah, absolutely fair enough. Stig, do you have any more questions before I go on to the final one?
No.
No, consistency is absolutely key, and I appreciate someone else actually singing that up, because that's always what I say.
Yeah. So one more question for you, mate. Heading into next week, are you confident for Australia?
I'm gonna be fair. I hate Australia.
Not the confidence of Shoot Fizzle then.
Yeah, but at least you're not singing. At least you're not building yourself up for failure. So a bit of doubt, a bit of practice, hopefully for you over the next week. But congratulations on P2, well deserved, and we'll wish you good luck for next week.
Yeah, thank you, and goodbye.
Goodbye, mate. Have a good one.
Thank you. Good luck.
Right, one more, and then. Oh, okay, he's just gone. Let me just quickly see if he comes back in. Hold on. Just quickly ask him.
Who are we trying to get in, Cluso?
Gary, but he joined. I moved him and he left. So.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Gary Gator and the Mystery Machine.
The Mystery Machine, it is. Yeah. So we've had so excellent job from both of them. There you go. He's back in now. Let's see if we can get him in. Oh. Oh, 1 second. Oh,
technical difficulties.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's not letting me move him in. That's odd. I'm not sure why it's not letting me move him in. He moves him in and it just disconnects him. Hold on. Not sure why it's not. Let's try one more time. If not, I might quickly join his and just move the channel quickly. Yep. I might quickly join his just to the channel. 1 sec. Hello, mate. I just thought I'd come in here because I think it's not letting you into that other one. Hold on 1 sec.
Yeah, I don't think it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, so it's fine. I just got to quickly change the audio over. 1 second.
Yeah, all good. Is this on stream?
Yeah, so it's all done now. So congratulations on your podium place. How are you feeling after that?
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough race, to be honest. I mean, I made a decent strategy call to go to the Inters, but from there, the tyres just wore away very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely fair enough. So did you feel like your did you feel like your dry pace was much better than your Inters and you were kind of just holding on in the end?
Yeah, I mean, with the mediums, cool. I knew the mediums were going to be a lot quicker than the hards, so that's why I went the double medium, and I'm just hoping for rain, which luckily came. But yeah, my dry pace was a lot better than my pace.
Yeah, it's fair enough. Stig, do you have any questions?
Absolutely great call to go on the mediums to Inters there. And I don't know if you're listening to the stream, but I was shouting out saying they've put Inters on. And they don't do this yet because we don't have the information to say this raining. So did you get all of that from your race engineer?
Yeah, I mean, I saw before the race going to be rain about lap 15 or so. And then the race engineer said it was about 10, 15 minutes. I saw a safety car come out and just decided to go for it. Wanted to slow down to see what the other two would do. And I saw they were going mediums for a sec, but in the end it worked out quite well.
Yeah, it's an excellent call, and there's something that Kalisto would do. It's straight out of his book.
Yeah, I was quite proud of you for that one, to be fair. So did you feel like what did you think about your pacing in comparison to Shoot Fizzle? Did you think Shoot Fizzle was just a bit too quick today?
I mean, on the dries, I think we're quite equal after the safety car, but then the minute it came to inters and he overtook me, I just couldn't keep up with anyone. I think I had a bit of an incident or something, and then just couldn't keep up with anyone.
Did you have any sort of damage, or was it just pace?
I think I had a little bit of front wing damage, but that's not to blame for the lack of pace. It was just poor pace.
Fair enough. So heading into next week, Australia, we have. How are you feeling for that one? Do you think you'll do well there?
Yeah, I mean, I've been decent not getting pens this year, and that is a very track limits, E-track, if you want to call it that. So I'm hoping if I can just keep it clean, everyone else will get the pens and I can capitalise on that.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a penalty-ridden track, that is. Stig, do you have any more questions?
No, not really. Just good luck for the next one. Congratulations today.
Yeah.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah, congratulations, mate. Excellent P3, and good luck next week. We thank you for your time. Thank you for your time.
Good, mate.
Bye.
Good, thank you. Bye.
Let me just quickly. So we're just going to see if we can get. So actually, that will be the end of the stream. I'm going to quickly move this back onto his office. There you go. So that is the end of the stream. Stig, thank you once more for coming along. And contacting me. And we will be back next week for Australia, round 5 of the championship. We will hope to see you all then. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.